Welcome back. Now we will try exercise 2.143. Okay, the question is to solve absolute value 7x minus 3 equals absolute value 3x plus 7. Okay, so notice when two absolute value expressions are equal, you take one expression equal the other expression, or one expression equals negative of the other expression. Notice parenthesis, that's important. Okay, so this equation gives rise to two equations, one with the expressions themselves equal to each other, or one expression equals negative of the other expression. At this point, I will solve for the first equation. Move the 3x over here by subtracting both sides by 3x. That gets you 7x minus 3x is 4x minus 3 equals 3x minus 3x cancels. You have a 7 over here. Now, add the 3 to both sides. Okay, opposite of subtraction is addition. Subtraction, addition cancel. 4x equals 10. Divide both sides by 4. Okay. These two 4's reduce. X equals, you can reduce by 2, fraction. 2 goes here 5 times, 2 goes in 4 2 times. So you have found one solution. Let's address this particular equation. Notice there is a minus outside parenthesis, so you need to distribute the minus first. 7x minus 3 equals negative 3x, negative 7. At this point, to bring that negative 3x, or to get rid of that negative 3x, I add 3x to both sides, which gets me 7x plus 3x is 10x minus 3 equals negative 3x plus 3x cancel. You are left with negative 7. Now, get rid of the negative 3 by adding 3 to both sides. This gets you 10x equals, what is negative 7 plus 3? It is negative 4. Lastly, divide both sides by 10. Okay, so remember, this equation or this equation means this solution or this solution. Okay, so it's a negative. Notice 2 reduces, so you have 2 over 5. These are your potential two solutions. At this point, don't forget to check. You're checking one solution and then the other. So let's check x equals 5 halves in this particular equation. Okay, it will take a long time to check, but it's good to check anyway. Absolute value 7x minus 3 equals absolute value 3x plus 7, and that's your proposed solution. So you want to check. How do we check? Where you see variable, you place parentheses first. Where you see the variable, you place parentheses first. Fill in the parentheses with your proposed x value. Now, you're checking whether the two sides are equal. So here, left-hand side, let's simplify. 7 times 5 halves. So think of that 7 as fraction 7 over 1. Let me rewrite it so you can see. This fraction should be thought of, this 7 should be thought of as a fraction 7 over 1. And now you're multiplying. So that gets you fraction. Multiplying across gets you 35 in the numerator, 2 in the denominator. Now you want to subtract the 3. Denominator 2. So remember, 3 is nothing but 3 over 1. So how do I get denominator 2? Multiply by 2, numerator and denominator. Okay, so that gets us, you have common denominator of 2. 35 minus 6 is 29. Absolute value of 29 over 2 is simply 29 over 2. You want to check whether this is equal. So remember the question mark, whether this is equal to this, whether this is equal to this, this is equal to this, this is equal to this. Okay, so it's a big question mark. Now let's complete here. So notice 3 is multiplying 5 halves. 3 is nothing but fraction 3 over 1. When you multiply it, what happens? 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 2 is 1. So this became 15 over 2. All right. So far so good. 15 over 2. Now you want common denominator. So that's 7. I write 7 as fraction. 7 over 1. How do I get common denominator 2? I need to multiply by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 7 times 2 is 14. So all of this is equal. Absolute value fraction. You have a common denominator 2. 15 plus 14 is 29. So we arrive at the same 29 over 2. No longer do you need question mark. Okay, so our proposed 5 over 2 is a solution. Okay, now we want to check x equals negative 2/5. X equals negative 2/5 in the same equation. We want to check whether it works. All right, well, how do we check? Replace your variable by parentheses and fill in the parentheses with the entire proposed solution, negative 2/5. Negative 2/5. And you're checking, so this is a question mark. So, same story as before. You want to multiply 7. What is multiplication by 7? 7 is nothing but fraction, 7 over 1. So when I multiply these two, I get absolute value using, it's a fraction. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 5 is 5. And there is a negative. So there is a negative. Minus 3. All right. How do I subtract 3? 3 is nothing but fraction 3 over 1. I need common denominator of 5. How do I get 5 here? Multiply by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. So that became this. In all, you have common denominator of 5. 5, that's good. Negative 14 minus 15 is negative 29. Absolute value of negative 29 is positive 29 over 5. So that's the left-hand side. We want to check whether it is equal to the right-hand side. So let's check. Let's check. Let's check. Let's check. Okay. So going here, let's see. 3 you're multiplying. 3 is nothing but fraction 3 over 1. When I multiply this, I get absolute value. 3 times 2, 6 over 1 times 5, 5 plus times negative is a negative. I'm adding 7. 7 is nothing but 7 over 1. I want to have common denominator of 5, so multiply by 5. 1 times 5 is 5, 7 times 5 is 35, which gets me absolute value. I have common denominator 5. Upstairs is negative 6 plus 35. Negative 6 plus 35 is simply 35 minus 6. That's 29. Absolute value 29 is fraction. Absolute value of 29 over 5 is 29 over 5 because it's positive already. So that's it. Nothing to check. They are indeed equal. So what do we know? So x equals negative 2/5 is also a solution. So what do we have now? Solution set. One is 5/2. The other is negative 2/5. And that completes this problem. We'll continue in the next video. Until then, bye.